Seconds out, round 2, almost literally. Bramall Lane, which has staged many a great sporting occasion over the past year or so. It's all been football, but today I couldn't park at Bramall Lane. Guess what? I couldn't park. James Gregg joins us because I normally walk down to the studio from there, you know, and it's nice free parking that, you know, at Bramall Lane. You get a bit of exercise. And too many lorries are in there. They've cordoned off the car parks, all because of you. All because of you. Dominic Ingle.
Making up a bit of a stir.
Yeah, trainer, obviously, of Kell Brook.
Yeah.
And a huge title fight, IBF World welterweight title fight against Errol Spence Jr. Saturday night at the Lane. Now then, you look very relaxed.
Well, everybody's saying to me, "Oh, there's a big fight down at the Lane." I says, "Well, isn't there a big fight down at the Lane every other week when United are playing?" But you know, it's standard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good place to have a fight. You know, it's a big summer event. Years ago, we had one there in '84 with Earl Graham. You were there, I was there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that you know, that long ago I even had hair, so that's how far back it is. 17 years old, and it was a great day, a blazing hot day, and we got a good crowd, and Earl Graham won. So hopefully we're going to get a repeat of that on Saturday with Kell Brook and Errol Spence, and Kell's going to come out on top.
Forecast of thunder, actually.
Well, maybe so, but you know, it'd probably
literally, you know.
Well, it might be, but you know, it's going to make there's going to be a lot of noise down there that night. You know, they all come out to support Kell, and hopefully punches like thunder when he gets in that ring.
Yeah. Sold out quick, didn't it, as well?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's a bank holiday weekend. Obviously, I'm not going to mention football teams who didn't, you know, get into the playoffs or whatever. So there'll be a lot of people milling around that weekend, and you know, it'd be a good family occasion. Take your kids out and watch some boxing. It's going to be a big event.
25,000. That's going to be an atmosphere. Not quite as many as you get on occasions, Chris. Not quite.
It'll be a great atmosphere.
Yeah. Are you going?
Yeah. I've got a ticket. Yeah. Managed to sneak in.
Managed to sneak in.
Fob. So sneak in.
Used your influence, a little bit of influence.
Little bit, yeah.
Ringside, boxing fan?
Enjoy it. So obviously supporting the local boy, and Kell's been out to watch the games, and obviously there's a connection with his uncle as well. So there's going to be a partisan crowd. So it's going to make some noise, and you know, when that place gets rocking, you know, 25, 30,000 in there, it's going to make some sound. Going
to be special. Now, pretty much press conferences for football managers mostly are cagey affairs, not giving anything away and just holding back. You might have something you desperately want to say, but you'd rather prove the point on the field. Boxing media coverage is entirely different to that, isn't it? You've been involved in a kind of verbal scrap again today, I believe.
Well, I think Errol Spence's trainer. He wants to have a dig at me. He wants to put himself. He's an ex-fighter himself, and he's easy to wind up. Derek, you know, he loves a challenge, and he's firing all cylinders today. And I think it's a marker of how, you know, they're all stepping on eggshells around Errol Spence. He's making the weight. He looks a little bit fragile. He looks a little bit cold, even though it's been a boiling hot day. And they're all walking on eggshells around him. And I think, you know, they're all getting, you know, what he's feeling. They'll cop him for it. And Derek today, he fired up straight away. As soon as started firing a couple of shots. And I know for a fact, I know what it's like. I know what it's like when you're in that position and you're with a fighter who makes it, you know, known to everybody that they're feeling it, making the weight, and it's a big struggle. And you know, if I'm going through it, you're going through it, and they're all on edge. So that's a good thing.
You get on really. Do you actually get on really? Is it all a big con?
Yeah, well, I don't mind firing a couple of shots at him. It's, you know, it's all in good fun. I don't think it's going to come to anything, but you know, it's nice doing it at the time, and it creates a bit of interest, and everybody gets, you know, jumps into it and starts winding up, and he starts firing back. It's good entertainment.
Showbiz sells tickets.
It sells tickets. I mean, it's sold well this show, but you've got to liven things up a little bit sometimes. Sometimes press conferences are a little bit boring, and people just come and say what they've got to say. You know, Dave Allen, the heavyweight who's fighting, he livened it up a little bit. He's got a good social media presence, and people come just to say what, you know, to hear what he's got to say.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk again more about Sheffield United's preparation for the Championship season with Chris Wilder later. He's not off scot-free yet. However, how is Kell? How is he behaving at the minute? Do you sense he's relaxed, or does he not need to be relaxed? Does he actually need to be a little bit hyper? How does he need to be?
No, he's relaxed. He's relaxed. He's done all his training. He finished his training, you know, Monday. Did a little couple of media workouts and stuff. He's done all his hard training now. He's done 16 weeks. He doesn't really train before the fight. It's just letting his body recover, making the weight, you know, trying to get his sleep right, and just winding down, saving all the adrenaline, not getting too wound up. And saving it all for Saturday night. You know, some fighters are on edge all the week up to the fight, and they burn themselves out. But with Kell, he's relaxed. He's been here a lot of times before. You know, to the normal person like me and you, You know,
you
wouldn't be relishing the thought of getting punched in the face on Saturday night, but Kell Brook's thinking, well, you know, that's what I'm going to do.
Not really.
Has it been different this time? Because obviously last time, I know it was against Golovkin, but has it been different this time coming off the back of a loss? You know, actually trying to prepare?
The only thing that's different is that, you know, for the Golovkin, he was a lot happier because he was eating more. It was almost like he wasn't having to restrict himself, and you know, he was a happier person. He had more about him. He was less quiet, less within himself, and. You know, a fight's a fight. Once the first shot hit Kell Brook, the left hook wobbled him, you know, you could see Kell Brook almost wake up and he was in a fight, and that's the signal. You get hit with a shot and your fighting instinct kicks in. And he had a war with Golovkin for 5 rounds, and, you know, the smaller guy against the bigger guy. This time, you know, Kell was disappointed losing. A loss is a loss. It doesn't matter, you know, whether it was an even match or the guy was bigger or whatever it was. You know, Kell was disappointed that he didn't win. You know, when I was at school, he goes, I used to fight bigger kids, you know, and I always get the top side of them. You know, I didn't ever think that size and weight or age was an advantage to them. I just thought, I've got to win. So he came away from that fight disappointed. You know, and he said he'd really like to fight Golovkin again. But this time, you know, he's relaxed. It's been a longer camp, obviously, making the weight. He's been a bit less happy. But, you know, he knows tomorrow he's going to weigh in at maybe 1:30, and by at least 4 o'clock after he's rehydrated, he's going to be eating proper food, and that's going to be, you know, put a big smile on his face. He's going to eat, and he's getting on Saturday night, going down and having a big fight, and that's what he's been training for 16 weeks.
Well, you're managing one person essentially. You're managing about 25 to 30. How big a strain is that to have that round the clock?
I think you talked about the importance of the lads that aren't playing. Usually the lads that are playing takes care of themselves because you know, they've been selected, so they get the nod. So it's the other ones keeping them happy. And obviously, you know, we're dealing with 46 games over a 9-month period. So it's a longer period than obviously the boxing guys. But you know, I take me out of to what they have to do, the training and what they put themselves through, because, you know, obviously our pre-season, you look at it now as well, and it does come round pretty quickly, but it's not as tough as was when I was first involved in football. It's more of a slow process now, but to get them right for 9 months, instead of obviously what the guys have to do to get themselves right for the fight.
How inclusive are you of people who are injured, maybe slightly out of form, but they're part of your squad? Do you have to? You hear horror tales of some managers who park them off somewhere.
100%, because they're the ones that, you know, we've talked about it this year. The ones that come and play 4, 5, and 6 games, they're the ones that get you over the line. Because if it was just about that 11, you know, and something happens, a suspension, an injury, a loss of form, and then you're absolutely mugging the other lads off, you've got to get them back into the fold and get them on board. So, you know, they're all treated as one, and we do, you know, specially chats and talk to them, and we've got a sports psychologist as well. So there's all stuff like that that we do to make sure that when they have to come into the team, that they produce proper performances. And I think that's what has, you know, got us over the line as well this year, is that everybody's played a part.
And in recruiting, James. In recruiting, how conscious are you of the need to just keep that special camaraderie that you've got and not bring anybody in that's going to disturb that chemistry?
Well, I mean, you know, we don't want robots. We want lads with personalities who, you know, there's loads of different characters in our changing room, and they have to get on with it, and they have to find a way to work together, and sometimes it doesn't work, but, you know, we set the temperature of the greenhouse, and away they go. And you know, we've always said, you know, we want people to come into work and enjoy it. It's not a concentration camp, but it's not an holiday camp. So we snap at them when we feel that they're not right, as you should imagine Dom does through the training through his. Yeah. And like I said, sometimes they need to be calmed down as well. So it's all about having a feel for it and being where you are and involved in it all the time, and looking around and making sure it's going the right way that you want it to do.
You follow footy?
Yeah, you know, Wednesday United, it's nice to see. I like sporting journey. You just want the city to do well as a whole. I know there's a big rivalry between the clubs. You know, we've got a lot of boxing clubs. We've got a lot of boxing clubs in Sheffield, but ultimately, when you understand, especially with fighters, what they have to go through, you can't really judge against one or another. People just want to get into the sport, earn a few quid, be competitive, and be respectful. And you know, there's this big divide in the football, but you know, it's just good if at least somebody's doing good in the football. That's the way it is. It just brings everything. You know, brings money into the city. It brings, you know, the culture aspect of it all. It's great, but there's this big, massive rivalry, and you know, I suppose that keeps it interesting.
It's going to intensify.
I mean, you know, for you, you're sort of trying to make Kell's life as easy as possible as it can be, aren't you? Really, you're sort of trying to, or not spoon feed him, but sort of shepherd him in the right direction. Make sure he's at the same way, eating, all that. He has people doing that for him, doesn't he?
Yeah. He has a guy doing his diet, and Kell has done his, you know, up until the Corson Jones fight, the fateful night in Sheffield when he nearly got beat. You know, he did his diet up until that point because, you know, everybody's controlling Kell Brook's life. The only thing he was in control of at that point was his own food. Yeah. You know, I controlled his training, he went home, he lived with his mum and his dad. Everybody's controlling what he does, making sure he doesn't step out of line, not too many nights out with the lads. And the only thing he had to hold on to with his food intake, and then that was taken away from him after that fight. And the thing is, to pass that over to somebody, you know, you've got to trust what they do because it's an horrible situation.
What's he going to eat then? Saturday?
Well, he's going to weigh in. His weigh-in will be at 1 o'clock, 1:30 on Friday. And obviously, over the last couple of weeks, he's been slowly reducing his weight, slightly dehydrating himself, cutting his water and his food back, so his weight's going to come down slowly.
What's his celebration meal then?
He generally has pasta. He likes pasta. We take him to a restaurant just over the border in Rotherham. We have somebody there who cooks his meal, you know, to perfection. He loves having pasta. That's the thing that gives him energy. But before he gets to that point, before he gets his first meal, he'll spend, you know, 2 or 3 hours rehydrating slowly with liquids and electrolytes and
you need to speak to Chris Wilder about rehydrating. He can tell you.
That's it. Because you know, for you, Chris, in terms of your players, Kell's obviously got everything done for him. The players, I know you're essentially just trying to make their life focused on football and relaxed and as easy as possible. Most things done for him, but there's an element of trust for you, isn't there? You know, like Dom and Kell's team, who are almost right. They do just follow what we tell you to do. You've got to trust your lads, haven't you?
Well, absolutely, but you know, it shows up on the training pitch. Yeah. You know, and obviously in the gym. So when you know when people have been out, you know when people, you know, have put weight on. You know, we measure, you know, body fats and stuff like that, and the intensity that we train at. So, and they're all GPS as well. They're all, you know, all the stats that we get and we analyse as well. So, while sometimes we get tagged a little bit old school, Mr. Biggs,
I do. Why are you looking at me and saying that?
No, but we, you know, we've got guys there, you know, our staff that keep a close look and everything. But you're right, because you know.
You got to then. I don't really, you know, in essence, you can't be sort of following him home and putting him a plate of food on the table. But that's the way. That's, like you said, it's the telltale sign, isn't it? Yeah. Not old school. Eh?
I think old school's good.
Old school's a new school.
Well, there you go. You see, I'm
not sure.
It's coming back.
I think as well. You know, you look
some old values.
You look. I mean, I've just watched a thing on a documentary on Sky, and you see, you know, the working environment that Dom and obviously Kell's been working at, and it's not on a boat. It's not out in this plush. You're grafting, and you're at a coalface and you're working hard, and you know, we had a few issues when I walked into Sheffield United that, you know, the players were having the food brought up in a minibus 200 yards away from the bottom building, because, you know, sometimes it rains.
But it doesn't.
So you might get wet. So you know, it's
things like that.
And bits
you can have prima donnas in sport, but you know, Kell Brook's not one of them guys. If you came into our training camp, you wouldn't think he was the one who was the man in charge. He sits back, and there's other people who are jockeying for that position, but he just sits back and he does his thing. He mucks in, you know, and that's how he does it. And there's no, you know, he doesn't try and put himself above anybody. He's just like one of the lads, and that's the way he is. And if he needs to, you know, if he needs to get his food, people do bring him his food, but that's all he can have. And he eats it, and then he just waits for the next meal, and it's like just, you know, feeding him under a door. But I tell you what, the idea of a GPS tracker is quite good. Could you get it fixed on permanently, you know, and monitor the progress over the weeks of training?
You have 30 blips on a great chart on the screen there.
The problem is when they stick them on the dog when they go home.
Well, that's it,
Yeah, you once stripped over a dog, didn't you? He got ruled out for the season. But yeah, taking the point about old school and new school, the sophistication of the way you played in that title-winning season may have taken a few people by surprise. They were thinking it might be a bit more pragmatic, but you played some absolutely fantastic football, and credit to you for that.
As we mentioned at the LMA do on Monday, we were the first team to play. We did it before Chelsea, so well, we talked about it as well. There's a lot of good people in football, you know, right away down. You know what Danny Cowley did at Lincoln, what the local lads have done at Doncaster. In our division, Bradford getting through to the playoff final. It's a tough gig, like professional sport. Nothing's handed to you. You've got to go and work at it, and you've got to go and earn the right to be successful. And you can't, like we said, you know, it's not, you know, there's only sometimes one winner and two or three go up or whatever. So nothing's given to you.
What's losing going to mean? I mean, you've lost, shame on you, 11 league matches in 2 seasons. You're going to be in the Championship. The odds are that you're going to experience that feeling a little bit more often.
Well, just deal with it. Yeah, we dealt. Yeah. Oh, we had 1 point out of the first 4 games, so we had to deal with that. So we had to get the boys. But
since then,
you know, we had to get them from a bad place into a better place. So it's all about managing and don't going over the top, and but making sure that they know the responsibilities and what they're up to.
What's more difficult then in that situation? When the team's sort of on the verge, because you know we got to sort of January, February time, and everyone's going, well, they're up, aren't they? They're up, but they weren't. You know, they still had a lot of football to be played yet, and there were, you know, 2 or 3 points sort of just inside, you know, those promotion spots. What's more difficult, picking them up from 1 point after the first 4, or trying to keep them sort of level-headed and keep that sort of momentum
I think you're going to be. If you're winning games of football, you're in a good place. Yeah. So you know that part of the job is possibly easier when they're winning games of football. But you know these things come around, and it will happen next year. We totally understand that.
You changed the system, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We looked at it, and we thought, you know, we possibly needed to make a few alterations. Pre-season as well is false as well, in my opinion. At times, you know, we have to play the local games. You know, there's players that are finding their feet and getting back into a rhythm of playing football. The games that you play, you know, we played Derby, then we went to Grimsby, went to Halifax, we played a game over in Spain. So really everybody talks about first 10 games of the season being a decent place to have a little look at your team. But obviously when you've got 1 point out of four games, that wasn't good. Even though I thought the performances were all right, we just needed to make a few tactical changes, and
it worked.
And a few, you know, players as well to bring.
It worked. Still got a few minutes left with these guys. Just briefly, what else is on?
Briefly, well, you were at the playoff final, weren't you? Watching, you know, the other week, and Sheffield United. Well, they were represented actually in the EFL Kids Cup final. Norton Free School, they won a citywide tournament back in November to represent Sheffield United down at Wembley, and they won on penalties against Oxford United. So brilliant stuff for Norton Free School, and of course Blades again as well, even though probably we didn't really want to be involved in a playoff final this year, but well, there we go. And also some Sheffield Eagles news to bring you as well. Investment is a step closer, apparently, according to Mark Aston, that mystery investment man who's going to hopefully be bringing the Eagles back to the city of Sheffield, investing in a new stadium as well in the Legacy Park. Apparently that's very, very close to actually happening. Hopefully this time next week I'll be able to update you properly on that. They're away at Swinton Lions on Sunday at 12:30 kickoff. So,
okay. And Sheffield Steelers coach Paul Thompson is going to be our guest in the next two or 3 weeks.
Good stuff.
Steelers fans, we'll look forward to that. First experience of the Championship for you, Chris, but then again it was first experience of League One.
Football doesn't change.
Yeah.
Football doesn't change, you know. You've just got to get the right players in with the right attitude, and the game doesn't change. So you know, it's we understand you know, it's a tough league. It's a relentless, ruthless league. You've got to be at it every week to get results. But we're really looking forward to it. It's where the club should be, minimum.
Yeah.
And you know, it's going to be sellouts at Bramall Lane. And it's the place to be, and we've got a bit of momentum, and we'll definitely have a go for it. That's one thing that we've done since we walked through the door. Every game, home and away, we're going to have a go for it, and nothing will change in our approach.
Consolidation, I wouldn't have thought is a word in your vocabulary?
No, I don't know what it means.
Right, okay. We'll look it up after the programme. Yeah, you go for it. Get as high as you possibly can.
You never know. You never know. Yeah, we understand it. We understand the challenge, though, Al. You know, we're not arrogant enough to know it's a tough division.
Indeed. Tough fight. You know, is it going to go the distance, or is it slam bang fight? What sort of fight is it going to be?
It's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be an exciting fight. You know, it's not going to be easy for Kell Brook. It's not going to be easy for Errol Spence Jr. But I think Kell Brook, he's got the ammunition. He's got the firepower. He's got the experience to beat this guy. It's a real life challenge, and it's probably his toughest fight since facing Triple G in September. So you know, tune in, come to the lane, whatever you got to do, watch it, because you know Kell Brook's not going to be around forever. He's probably got 3 or 4 big fights left in him, and he's a marquee fighter these days, and it's a good experience.
Errol Spence was suggesting that it's all psychology and mind games, that all the pressure's on Kell because he's got all his fans there and it creates more pressure for him.
It does, but Kell fights better under pressure. He's not, you know, we've had fighters in the past who box better away from home. The likes of Nazim Hamid and the fighters like Ricky Ham box better at home with the crowd behind them, and that's it. And Kell Brook's one of them fighters. Johnny Nelson, on the other hand, like to box abroad, you know, in everybody else's backyard, put himself in as the underdog where there was no pressure on him, and he always won. So, you know, Kell loves the pressure. He loves the crowd behind him. He loves the noise. When he boxed Golovkin down at the O2 in London, he said the noise was deafening. He says the adrenaline was going through my body. It was a fantastic feeling. It was the biggest high you could ever have. So you know that's what he's looking forward to. And obviously in his hometown, 25,000 people, football ground, Sheffield, his home city, it's going to be electric.
Does the old man still have an input?
Yeah, he's coming. Well, he comes. Yeah, he has an input. He sits in the same seat he sat in for the last 40 years, and in the corner next to the ring, watching everything, analysing everything. And every now and again he'll say something. He controls the music. We're walking at 3:30.
Controls the music?
He controls the music. We've got Irish music on folk. And as soon as he walks out at 5 o'clock for his tea, you know, they're in there jumping in with their iPhones, plugging him in and changing the music. But they all have to listen to it. And you know, you see people walking into the gym and the first reaction is, well, what's this rubbish? And I'll listen to this. But nobody's going to say anything to Brendan like, oh, can we have some different music on Brendan? They've all got to learn. They've all got to listen and learn.
Is it 40s and 50s stuff then?
No, it's just Irish folk music and that kind of stuff. And you know, he plays it over and over again, everything, and it's got a rhythm to it. And you know, people are saying, oh, can we listen to something different? I said to them, look, you're not here to listen to music. It's background music. If you're concentrating on the music, you're not thinking about your job.
Is music big for you in football dressing rooms, Chris?
Some of the stuff that we have is absolutely rubbish.
What kind of stuff are we talking?
Well, they just have their own. They'll suggest 2 or 3 songs and they all stick it together in. But the time you come round to March and April, it's just getting on your nerves. It's all the same noise.
Can you just like go and unplug the speakers on a Friday night?
Yeah, as soon as they get out for the warm, that's
There's no Beatles or Stones or anything like that, sadly.
No, I'm afraid.
What a pity. Stuff that you don't even know what it is.
It's absolutely,
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. Give regards from this show to Brendan and Alma, because 2 of my favourite people in journalism over the years. You know, that remember going to the gym in the early days, and your dad's warm welcome, and you know, from that, you know, really small start, what's been achieved has been an absolute sporting miracle.
It's been a great place to do it as well.
Yeah, actually, you saw it from sort of growing up.
Yeah, you know, I was born into it. It's second nature. My kids are the same. You know, my kids, you know, they walk into the gym and they don't do boxing, but you know, looking at them, they can do all the footwork and the punches and everything else. They think they can fight by just watching, and that's how I learnt to do it. You know, you're born into it, aren't you?
I wish we could carry on. We've just got 20 seconds left. James, thanks very much indeed. Thank you very much, Dom, and good luck to Kell at the weekend. Enjoy the fight, everybody. Chris Wilder, Sheffield United manager. Congratulations again. He's got a few bottles just down there.
Good luck to Kell as well. Good luck to Kell, yeah, definitely.
Thank you for watching. It's on my YouTube channel later. If you missed, repeat at 11 as well. See you next week. Bye.